See some people from our other workshops joining us. Thank you so much. All right, I think we're gonna get started. So folks, welcome. As I've stated before, we're so excited for today's session of hashtag Friday Forum. So if you haven't been here before, this is gonna be a great treat. We have three amazing panelists today that are gonna walk us through their journey on starting their business during the pandemic. As everyone knows, starting a business in general can just have an array, there's an array of emotions I think that are involved. And sometimes people kind of get stuck in limbo, right? They're like, should I start? Should I not start? Is now the right time? And then COVID hit, right? So that, I think that really pushed a lot of those people that were already in limbo a little further back, where they weren't sure, now is this really what they're supposed to be doing? But resilient people on the call with us today, super courageous. If you're looking for some inspiration, these are definitely the people that you want to talk to, right? You want to hear their story. And the idea behind that is that can get you in motion, right? Because nothing happens when you're stagnant. So as you can see from the photos here and the lovely faces in the top, we have three panelists. We have Dr. Mark Abraham. He's the founder and CEO of MEA, MEA Consulting Services, LLC. We have Janelle Eason, the CEO of Nick Chocolates, and we have Haidia Walker, the head of the House of Indigo. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of this conversation, we're just gonna go through a couple housekeeping items, tell you a little bit about Passstone in case you haven't heard about us and who we are, what we do, who we serve. So let's see. All right, so anyone joining us, if you can please just mute yourself if you're not speaking. That way we don't have any kind of background noise, going on or distracting us. If you have headphones, go ahead and plug them in. Sometimes it's just easier to hear you. If for some reason you want to unmute yourself and you want to ask a question. So go ahead and use that. Also, if you have like a lot of background noise, headphones usually help. This is live, so if for some reason you don't want your face being shown out in the world, go ahead and turn your camera off. But as always, we really do appreciate seeing everyone's face, right? Because it's not exactly, I think dealing with COVID and doing everything virtual, it's tough when you're, talking to just like black screens with names, right? So again, show us your face, but if you don't feel comfortable, feel free to turn your camera on. Or off, I'm sorry. As I mentioned before, you are welcome to use the chat to comment or ask questions, but if you want to, if you feel, better just kind of asking yourself, you feel like you portray your question better, you'll relay it better, please go ahead and unmute yourself and then ask your question. This is a forum, so the idea behind it is interaction, right? It's not like a school lesson or anything like that where you're sitting down and trying to, learn something. I mean, you are trying to learn something, but you get the idea. Let's have a conversation. That's what this is about. And again, most of all, please engage and get as much as you can from this forum. We are all here to learn from each other and support each other. So as I mentioned before, networking is key. Like there may be something here that you didn't even realize that you needed. So let's kind of move forward. So a little bit about Passstone, if you have not heard about us before. We are a nonprofit, so we're a CDFI, which is a community development financial institution. So we are mission-based, as you can see here. We provide small business loans and technical assistance to individuals in financially underserved communities. And so the amount of our loans ranges from $5,000, which is usually more on the startup end, up to $250,000, which usually ends up being for existing businesses. I know some people that have joined us today, they actually have been on our other workshops, and they may even have joined us like in person prior to COVID. So, but for those of you who have not, We do offer free technical assistance. And so with that, there's business development education workshops, one-on-one assistance with industry experts, mentoring and coaching, and networking. Again, network, network, network. That's really what all business owners should really, that should be one of their priorities, right? Again, if you want to learn more about us, we have our website here, theenterprisecenterinc.org. You can follow us on our social media platforms, which we have listed there. For anyone that has maybe missed any of this information, we will be sending it out in a post forum email. So don't worry, you will get all this information as well that you can kind of go through and sift through at your own convenience, at your own leisure. All right, so financial assistance, especially now during COVID, everybody wants to know, how can I be helped, right? So there are a couple programs here, that are still active for people that are looking to maybe apply for a PPP or, a grant or different things like that. These are a couple things that you can look into to see if they can help you with your business, depending on, what stage you're in. All right. Okay, so looks like we have about 25 participants right now. So we're actually gonna, and I did mention this when you folks kind of logged in, looks like we have a good amount of folks that told us about their business in the chat. So I'm just gonna kind of randomly pick on a couple people since we have so many people and we wanna make sure we, get to the panelists. So give us your 60-second pitch, right? Like, this is what you're going to be doing if you're in business. So you might as well get into the groove of doing it over and over and over again until it comes out naturally. All right. So let's see if we can pick some folks here. All right. See if it'll allow me to unmute you. So let's try. All right. Mika?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Or afternoon. Or morning. Yes, good morning.
Yeah, afternoon. I don't know what time it is anymore. So how are you? Good morning. And, tell us about you and your business.
Okay, so my name is Damika Evans. I am the owner of Vibe High Wear, which is a clothing line, just spreading a message across the nation about being the best, having that best human experience that you can have on this earth.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for joining us. And is there anything, I guess I should say, that you were kind of expecting to get from today's forum?
I'm just looking for information. I'm a new business owner. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm strategizing my business correctly. I'm making sure I'm doing the steps to get it to the next level. So whatever information is out there for me to run a better business, I'm just looking for it. I'm just hungry for it.
Awesome. That's what we want to hear. All right. Thank you so much, Damika. Let's see who else. All right. Let's try. All right. Let's try. I see Our Mommy Village. I know I've seen you in other workshops. Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about your business.
Oh, can you see me?
Yes. Hello.
Good morning. My name is Shayna Broughton. I am the creator of Our Mommy Village. And I started with lactation, so breastfeeding with young mothers. And then that it grew to health and wellness. So now in the community, I do some of everything. So from breastfeeding to being at the birth of these young women, all the way to nutrition during and after their breastfeeding experience.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything specifically you were looking to get out of today's forum?
Just information right now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, let's show Mark some love here. So let's get someone from the male gender. All right, where'd you go? All right, Gary Moore. Can you unmute yourself and tell us about your business?
Yes. Hi.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gary Moore. I'm currently in a course to become a home inspector. So that's my new business that I'm working into.
Okay.
I'm currently a truck driver. I drive 18 wheelers.
Okay.
And the name of my business will be Gary Moore Home Inspections.
Perfect.
I'm
And
happy to
why?
be here.
Thanks. So we're happy to have you. Can you tell us like why you decided home inspection?
I find that the real estate business is very active and there's a lot of money to be made. But I find that on the surface, people only know about the real estate agents, and there's many smaller parts. There's many smaller parts within the equation of the buying and selling of a home or a property. So I'm just trying to find a nice avenue where it's not too overpopulated and I can actually um, make a career out of it.
All right, awesome. Well, more power to you. We wish you much success.
Appreciate it.
All right, and let's just get one more person on here and then we can kind of jump in. All right, we have Yoga Me Black. Can you please unmute yourself and tell us about your business?
Sure. Hi, my name is Tamika Jones, and I am the owner of Yoga Me Black. Yoga Me Black is an acronym. It means yoga for mental elevation to be liberated and conscious. And I focus on Kemetic yoga, which is Egyptian yoga. And the focus is really to break the stigmas around yoga and to remind Black people that yoga actually started in Africa. So, yeah.
That's awesome. For you, I guess I could ask, was there anything in particular you're looking to learn from today's forum?
I'm just always interested in meeting new people and learning knowledge.
Awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. So we're going to go in and just play a little interview here. I briefly went over the panelists that we have, but we're going to start with Mark, and you'll see a little bit of his story here. As long as it plays. 1 second.
I'm Spectrum News reporter Fadia Patterson in Buffalo with an update on a change in leadership at high school. After nearly 4 years, Dr. Mark Abraham is leaving his post as principal.
You have to create a system within a school, and we've been able to do that at McKinley. Create a system for kids to know that they're appreciated and that they're valued and that they're important.
It's that system, Dr. Mark Abraham says, helped McKinley High School achieve its highest graduation rate in decades at 87%. He's leaving a successful chapter at McKinley to share that system nationwide.
If our young Black children are not receiving high school diplomas, they're ending up dead or they're ending up in prison. The worst thing is to die. And you have to hug a mother that's crying of a 19-year-old because that kid got killed in the street for gang violence or something negative, you really don't understand the passion, the fervor, and what's causing me to say leave a comfortable position like at McKinley High School, where we've had success, to say we have to do more.
In a statement, Superintendent Dr. Kreiner Cash calls Dr. Mark Abraham a rare talent and says he looks forward to continue mentoring him. Cash says Dr. Abraham brought high energy and high expectations to every aspect of his work as high school principal. He leaves the school in good standing and accountability status, end quote. Dr. Abraham is branching out as the CEO of his own consulting firm, which provides solutions for underperforming schools.
I have shown success here at McKinley. Now's the time to say, how do we help this population close that achievement gap that is continually getting bigger?
Dr. Abraham says there is no better time than now to make this change after seeing students of color struggle during distance learning amid the coronavirus pandemic.
I want to follow my heart and follow my dreams of seeing more kids be successful around the country. Is it scary? yes, it's a bit scary. But you never know if you can fly unless you jump out. And so I would tell anybody who's listening, follow your dream, follow your goals, follow what your heart is telling you to do, because that's when you really have an opportunity to see the greatness on the inside of you and be who I believe God has called you to be in the time that He has called you to be in. So,
Reporting in Buffalo, Fadia Patterson, Spectrum News.
All right, folks. So that is a little bit about Mr. Dr. Mark Abraham. And so I'll let him take it away. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, what's going on? Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so, you know, the interview said a lot. And just to kind of piggyback on that, really, my passion is going around the country and helping failing schools increase graduation rates and student performance for young men of color. What I know viscerally and what I know experientially, when black men, young black men and young Latino men do not receive high school diplomas, they end up in jail or they end up dead before the age of 25. Here's what I know most importantly, though, is that this notion that black and brown young men cannot graduate from high school on time, it is not true. It is a farce. It's a lie. With the right system in place, with the right strategies, schools can have success. And so that's what I do. I help principals, I help superintendents, I help parents advocate for their children, right? Because there has to be enough pressure on the system to make a change. And this has been going on for a long time, and it's been going on too long. So, you know, if you didn't know, that is a business, and my business is helping people who don't know how to do it, or they find themselves in a rut. And I don't come off from a position to say I'm accusing principals and teachers of not caring about kids. That's irrelevant. I mean, in my mind, at times, what's important is, can we give you the right strategy so that you can be successful? Like, we want you to care. That's key. But also, there's people that care for kids that don't know what they're doing. So they love kids but don't have the right strategies, right? So my job is to say, A, it can happen. B, here's the system that when applied, and when applied correctly, you'll start to see 80, 90, and 100% graduation rates. Guaranteed. I'm fully confident that no matter what school I go into, that where you are, we will make you better. And I have a team of people that work with me to assure that your school is going to have a high level of success. But we also need parents to advocate and teach them how to find their voice. So, hey, listen, you know I can talk forever, so just tell me what you want from me, and then I'll stop talking, right? Because, you know, I go on and just talk. So I'll end it there because we don't have that much time, and there's a lot of people on the panel. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark. We'll kind of circle back around, but I will say a graduate of McKinley myself, very long time ago. I think it would have been—
How long?
18 years.
No, I'm joking.
It would have been fun to have a principal like you or someone. I think kids need more people like you. And like you said, teachers, adults, parents, just kind of everyone involved in the education system. I think we need more people that are just much more excited, much more involved, you know, and learning these strategies could really make a difference. So we'll circle around back to you. All right, so we have Miss Janelle Eason. She is the CEO of Nikki's Chocolates. Folks, if you want some dessert, this is the place to go. So Nikki, tell us a little more about your business. Or I'll say Janelle, but it's Nikki's Chocolates.
Yes. Janelle or Nikki is perfectly fine. Hello, everyone, and welcome today. So just to give you a little bit of a background about myself, prior to going into the dessert business, I actually worked in corporate management for over a decade. And I got to a place where I didn't love my job. So I wanted to look towards finding something that was more of a passion. Baking was a passion. So what I basically decided to do about a year and a half ago was start out with launching a dessert business. It started out with chocolates and then it branched out to a variety of other things. So now today I offer a variety of desserts, small plate, caterings, and specializing in chocolates, cakes, and cookies. So what I would like to actually talk about today is just my journey with starting out last year with opening up a commercial space in the Black Rock area. So I'm located at 27 Chandler Street in Black Rock, which is an upcoming development area. And during that time, I was thriving. Had a customer base, had things on the calendar. At no point did I realize that a few months later that I would have to close my doors for a matter of several weeks and go into a pandemic. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is not only being courageous in starting your business or following your dreams, but being versatile, understanding that prior to COVID, I was not prepared for an online presence. I was more focused on event based and being able to just continue to go through and find a way to be versatile, find a way to connect with my customers, find a way to strategize and have marketing. So what I did is I actually reached out to Papstone and CAO, and they have helped me connect with other professionals because with being a newer business, there were things that I just didn't know. They were able to help me with my social media, help me with my marketing, help me rethink a strategy and not be afraid to switch gears and kind of abandon some of the things that I wanted to do to focus more on what my customers wanted. So now post COVID, I'm able to offer curbside. I'm able to create my own pop-ups in the parking lot. I'm able to partner with other businesses that are here to continue to make sure that we're providing a safe environment for our customers and still creating that awareness and being able to push through. So I would say from a tip perspective, don't be afraid to switch gears. Don't be afraid to have a few pitfalls and still be positive and move forward. And definitely don't be afraid to ask questions and reach out to other businesses because they may know a little bit more to help guide you along the way.
That's amazing advice that I think everyone should heed to. Yeah, it's as I mentioned kind of when we were opening up, really networking, right? You don't know what you don't know. And unless you start having these conversations with other business owners, you may find out there are some things that you should have implemented that you just have not as of yet. So thank you so much, Janelle. We'll go and take it over to Haidia so she can tell us about her business, and then we'll kind of, again, circle around, see if there are any questions. Folks, in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free, put them in the chat, or if you want to hold on to it so you can say it yourself, feel free. So Haidia, tell us about your business.
So good morning, guys. My name is Haidia Walker. So I started the House of Indigo. House, H-A-U-S in German, is a great house where things are done exceptionally well. And I've been obsessed with the word house since I was like a child. And indigo is the color of enlightenment, right? So that's how the House of Indigo was born. The House of Indigo is a holistic health and metaphysical services. So basically it ended up coming about on accident. I actually used to work in nonprofits, and last year I found myself just really overworked, burnt out, and just from like work, school, life. I was full-time in grad school, and what eventually ended up happening to me is I got an autoimmune disease. So I got an autoimmune disease, and my skin was cracking. It was really bad. It was really painful. My hair was falling out, and what I found out was that there's only one Black dermatologist in Rochester, and she was booked for like an entire year. So I spent about 6 months going around to different dermatologists in Rochester. They all kept misdiagnosing me. They all kept throwing different medications at me. And then it got to a point where I was just really fed up. So I started like learning a lot about like essential oils and natural remedies. And what eventually happened was I ended up healing myself on my own. And so that's another reason of how like the House of Indigo was created. And from that, I ended up leaving where I was at, and I ventured off into another nonprofit organization. And I realized it was just the nature of business. Like for you to kind of like just burn out. And it just didn't really align with like me or my spirit or who I was. So I started to create, so I've been into like astrology. So I'm an astrologist. So I do metaphysical, I do astrology, I do tarot readings, birth chart readings. So this is a birth chart. And it's funny. So when people think of astrology, they think, oh yeah, it's just my sun sign. Like I'm a Gemini, I'm this, I'm that. But that's not like what astrology actually is. There's actual, like that's a person's chart. So astrology is time, location, and date. And from that, you can literally look at people and like, if I had access to a person's chart, you can tell people important information about themselves to help themselves, to help heal themselves, to fix certain things, to point you in the right direction, to give you guidance. So that's what I offer to people. And my business is a little unique because it's on the premise of seek and you will find. So I'm not trying to push myself for everyone. I'm not for everyone, but those who, you know, seek and you will find. I have services and I have clients and they love it. So I've been doing really well with that. I also started creating my own products. So after I ended up getting sick, I started to sell the products that I made that helped me. And that's been doing really well too. So it's funny because I started in the middle of a pandemic, which was, it actually worked in my favor because I had a strong media presence anyway. Like when I worked for nonprofit organizations, I did social media, I did marketing, I did graphic design. So I literally built my entire site, like my logos, my logos for my products, everything, website, like all on my own. It was like, it was just basically applying what I had been doing, but for myself finally, which felt really good. And it also gave me like the flexibility to do things. And plus, like with this time period, a lot of people are looking for spiritual guidance. So it kind of just makes me get like my sense of fulfillment too. It's like, it's just like felt like it was in a way like a calling, but it's just like, you know, it felt like it was supposed to happen when it happened. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and I'm happy.
That's awesome.
I felt like doing this after she started. I felt like she was there. I was like, yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. I think this pandemic has given people the opportunity to either take that time to really reflect, not only on their business but themselves. Right? Are they happy? Are they healthy? Are they doing things that they can sustain in the long run? Right? And obviously, since we can't go anywhere, now is the time to definitely sit down and really think about that. So,
can I say something though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think that it's so important that anybody who's listening or anybody who is paying attention to this later, you know, listening to the panelists and listening to what they have to say and thinking about the pandemic. Like in January, when you were like, Happy New Year, this is about to be my best life, girl. This is going to be my best life. This is 2020. What would you have done differently, though, if you knew that March was the country is going to come at a halt, right? Like, what would you have done differently? That's one. And then the people who are no longer with us, what dreams did they take to the grave with them unknowingly? They didn't know they were going to get COVID. They didn't know this was going to happen. So what dreams and goals did they have that they weren't able to manifest? So for me, it was more like, listen, you got to step out. You know, I really felt my spirit. Before you can ever know you can walk on water, you got to step out the boat. So step out off that boat and start walking on water, and then start to see the miraculous happen in your life and live the life that you want to live. So, you know, I'm just so proud of the business owners here and to the ladies that shared their journey thus far. So, you know, I'll stop talking because I try to tell you, I tell my kids I go for like 6 hours, drink a cup of water, and be like, I'm ready to go for another 6. I got it on the inside of me. That's what besides consulting, I speak. That's what I do. So go ahead.
That's the purpose of this, right? We want people, you feel inclined to share something or something that someone is saying is speaking to you. Like, that's what this is about, right? We're trying to inspire each other to be great. Not that we aren't, but you can always be better. There's always something that you can improve upon. I will say there is a question here for Janelle, and it was saying, what is the license to vend in a parking lot?
Okay, awesome. So I hold a caterer's license, so it automatically extends out to my space and other spaces. Depending on where you are, if you're in the city of Buffalo, right now during this time, they are allowing you to apply for extended permits to move into parking lots and outdoor spaces. The New York Forward website has the application there, or a link to get to the application. I don't believe that the permits office is open to the public just yet. Everything is online, but normally you would go right downtown to the license and permits office to apply for an application.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And so let me see if there's anything else we have going on here. In the meantime, Mark, I know that both Janelle and Haidia kind of spoke about, you know, COVID and their experience, I guess, kind of dealing with COVID. You did not mention anything like that, so I'll turn it over to you to see, like, why now?
Why not? Well, that's a great question. I don't want there to be a misconception as if, like, you know, this was I think people thought that, like, just because they saw the news article, they were like, well, he just kind of stepped out and it was like abrupt, like he started this in COVID. And no, like, this was something I was building prior to. And then now when I see what's transpiring in the country and so many Black and brown children not receiving the proper education, it prompted me to have more of a sense of urgency, because, so that, you know, if you're in education, think about this. Black children come into school significantly at a deficit academically. Like, we know this. Like, this isn't something that we don't know. We also know that 66% of people who don't have a high school diploma end up in prison. That's the stat. Black men make up about 12% of the country, but 37% of the prison population. Black and brown people make up about over 50% in the prison population. So what does that mean, Doc? That means no high school diploma equates to a prison. It equates to modern day slavery. Now, when we have COVID that has impacted the Black family more than the Black and Latino family more than anybody, families are dying. So it said, for me, I know how to do this for my school, and I can impact 1,200 kids. But there's millions of young Black and brown children that need this work, and they need people to advocate for them and show the schools that they can get a high school diploma even through distance learning. So what prompted me to step out is saying, listen, there's such a huge need, and this graduation gap is getting wider. You know, it's getting worse. And with COVID, you know, kids are not getting education. Now it's like, so how do we help the system be more empathetic to the needs of the students that they serve? And let me tell you this, folks, I do not hold any qualms. I don't say this with trepidation. I say this unapologetically. When I walk into a school, I love all children. But when I walk into a school and you call me, I'm telling you why I'm there. That is to help educate Black and brown children. That's my purpose. Now, if you don't want me, then hire somebody else. But my purpose, when I walk into your school, I'm helping Black and brown children because they're performing at the worst. They're the worst performing kids in the school, and they keep saying that they can't do it. But I've shown through research and through practice, and as a young Black male that went through an urban education, that it is possible and it can happen if you know what you're doing. So when you call my phone, you know what you get. You get somebody saying Black or brown children can graduate, and I'm gonna help you do that. And if it's not for you, it's not for you, right? So then we move on. So to answer your question, there's a sense of urgency because things are getting worse. And there needs to be more people having this message and more people saying that our young Black and brown children, not only they can graduate from high school, they deserve it. They need it. Because if they don't get it, they're going to end up in prison and they're going to end up being killed in the streets. So this statistically it just changes the country and the paradigm for what is going on in these United States of America.
I do see there was a comment from Terrence, where he's agreeing with you, and he's saying many of us have war wounds from battling professional corruption and lack of commitment, which is another needed honest conversation.
Can I quickly chime in?
Sure, go ahead, Gary.
I definitely agree with what you're saying, Dr. Abraham. It makes me think about the quote. It's easier to raise a strong child than to fix a broken man.
Right.
I believe that I may be one of the younger participants in the chat. I'm 25, young Black man, and everything you're saying is to the T correct. If you can't, it's simply this. It has to do with education, but it's more of to instill the focus within the self. If you can't instill that value within the child, young Black man or woman, then the idle mind just consumes itself. And I totally agree with what you're saying. Simply put, if the direction is not instilled at a young age, then by the age of 25, they will be making all of the wrong direction and choices and decisions. I agree with that.
And Gary, thank you for sharing. And let me say this, and I want to say this, and I say this on every forum. To any educator that's out there that's listening to this, stop blaming parents for your inability to graduate kids. So that is not fair. You can't blame the parents and the children for what you failed to do. Because that's what's happening. They'll say, well, why Black boys don't graduate from high school? Because they parents. What? There's urban districts that have 300,000 kids and the graduation rate for Black males is 25%. You telling me 75% of the parents don't want them to graduate from high school? That sounds illogical. It's a failing system that is not favorable to our children that look like the folks that I'm looking at right now, that don't create success for them. So that it's a sense of urgency. Gary, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And, thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my heart and my passion. But my passion said I got to get out of the building. I got to be able to go in and help systems quickly do this, because kids are dying, and they're dying at a high rate. And a high correlation is no education.
Can I chime in on something?
Yeah.
So Terrence said too much politics, abuse, and bullying in schools and education. And as a Black woman, I feel like that is also in like work environments, corporate America as well. It's a lot of political abuse, bullying in schools. And I think that was one of the reasons too that kind of pushed me into working for myself and working on my own, because it was weighing in on me. Like it got to the point where I just didn't feel like myself. I felt unhealthy. Having to wear a mask, right? And not just this COVID mask, but having to wear a mask. Like you start feeling like you have to wear a mask, you have to be a certain way, act a certain way, in order to move up the environment, in order to fit in. You have to do certain things that make you uncomfortable, that don't align with your spirit necessarily.
Right.
Instead, I was like, I'd rather do something that focuses on mind, body, and spirit, and that I can use to help specifically, like how he said, he's here for people who. He's here for people like in the school, he goes to school, the children, but he's really focused on Black and brown people. That's the same for me. And that's one of the reasons why I started my business, just because, and like, even for me, I offer metaphysical, I call it metaphysical life coaching. And I offer it really cheap because a lot of times we can't afford a therapist, or, we don't have access to that kind of thing, or they don't pay attention to us correctly, right? So there's so much health disparities too. So that's another reason why I treat people like mind, body, and spirit. And that's something that I'm really passionate about as well. So when you were speaking, I was like, it's insane that you can take it and put it on so many different spectrums, so many different platforms, but it's realistic.
So Heidi,
right, yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Mark, you want to say something?
No, I'm just saying she's absolutely right. I mean, it's just when we look at institutionalized racism, that's essentially what we're talking about. Right. So when we look at institutionalized racism, why we talk about implicit bias, that notion when you look at somebody because they're a person of color, you think that they're a criminal, or you think that women should only be subjected to sexual activities, and you have these crazy notions in your mind that is based in a racist, hateful way of thinking. And so the work you do, at least the work I do, is to tell people, let me help you with your implicit bias, and let me call it out and show you the mirror. Because unless we start to deal with that, I think Brother Gary said something about it's a commitment and integrity. Unless we deal with that and start to look in the mirror and what we have in front of us, we're never really going to make the change. I know this wasn't the conversation you was probably looking for in this forum, but you brought me on here, so you know what I do. So I know what kind of conversation you want. You want to know COVID and business and everything like that. So I'm talking passion and love.
Well, that's part of it, right? So people are starting their businesses, and if they haven't yet, like, they're looking for, again, like that push. Like, sometimes I feel like a lot of business owners don't necessarily have a network of other business owners, to kind of get that push from, right? Sometimes you're hoping maybe your family will give you that push, or a friend, or, but, I think you need someone in that business arena to be honest with you, right? So there's always going to be good things, and there are some struggles as well as being, that comes from being a business owner. So I think all of the conversation that's happening is very relevant. People seem to be loving it because they're commenting in the chat. So you're good. Haidia, I will ask you, what kind of feedback have you gotten maybe from the community? Because you stated, and I'm aware of this, but a lot of Black and brown folks, the notion of, going to a therapist or talking about their feelings, it's not always, as easy as you would like it to be. So I guess, maybe what's some feedback that you've gotten from the community, that they see someone that looks like them being able to provide these types of services?
Well, I've gotten great feedback, and I've gotten people who probably wouldn't have ever tried before, which makes me happy, right? So another thing that I ended up doing is I started doing Reiki. So I'm a Reiki practitioner. When I practice for a year, I'll be a master Reiki, but that's happening. That's coming soon. But just introducing something like Reiki to Black people, like, people are like, what is this energy healing? Like, what? But they like it and they feel the difference. So the fact that I can introduce that to a group of people who wouldn't have been able to do it necessarily, or have even heard of it before, and can do it for an affordable price, right? So I've been getting great feedback, and I've been getting people who never would have possibly even thought about doing that stuff before. Plus, I'm young, I'm a Black woman, and I'm intelligent, so it's not just like I just woke up one day and decided to do this. This has been a lifestyle for me. But because of society, I felt like I had to go to school. So I'm almost done with my master's degree right now. And coincidentally, my master's is in nonprofit, public administration and nonprofit management, because eventually my goal is to take what I'm doing and create it into a space for Black and brown people that really specializes and focuses on mental and spiritual health. And then by then, hopefully I can take what I'm doing and expand it so that we can have access to this more.
That's amazing. Thank you for the work that
I got a question.
Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, listen, ladies, did anybody think you were crazy when you decided to start your business? Like anybody say, like, what? Like, that's what they did to me. What?
Absolutely. But you know what? Like Haidia was saying, you have to have your mind right and have your mental together. Love yourself, invest in yourself, be willing to take that leap, because as you continue to grow, you are going to shed people. Mm-hmm. And that's on purpose, right? Because in order for you to grow and elevate, you have to leave some of the things that were not working behind. So that means that you're going to need to reconnect with like-minded people, reconnect with people who have your best interests at heart. Not only with being a business owner, do you have the challenges of just opening the business, you have the challenges of the working capital, you have the challenges of trying to hire, you have the challenges of trying to get support in your business. So you have to make sure that you are surrounding yourself by positivity, on a daily basis, and understand that as you change, you have to hold yourself accountable, be willing to learn from your mistakes in order to continue to grow. I don't know not one successful person who hasn't failed, who hasn't fallen multiple times, but that perseverance keeps you going.
For me, of course, I've gotten called crazy, right? I mean, I literally like left my jobs to go and do quote unquote pseudoscience. Like, oh my God, she's lost her mind, right? Like, okay, so for me, it's more so just being comfortable in my gifts and understanding that they're not fake and that I'm actually seeing improvement in people. And again, I don't force what I do onto anyone. Like I said, my business is specifically in the premise of seeking you will find, right? So people seek me, they find me, and then I offer what I do to them. And people have been seeking me a lot, which means I'm obviously doing something correct, right? And my business is doing well. So that means that I'm obviously doing something that's legitimate. And I don't really care if people think it's like I lost my mind or something, right? Because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, and when you're like walking in your purpose, people are gonna sometimes think that you are, and that's okay.
You gotta say that.
That's fine.
You gotta say that.
I think sometimes
well,
people are comfortable when they see you comfortable in your own skin. It makes other people uncomfortable.
Right. And plus I've been super transparent with my journey. Like people seen me when I was sick on my social media and I was telling them like I got autoimmune disease. They keep misdiagnosing me. This is happening. Then they see me like I started making this product. It's helping me. I started learning Reiki. I've been using Reiki on myself. I'm feeling better. So like you people have literally been witnessing it and seeing it. So it's like, wow, seeing is also believing too, right? So.
Yeah, right. Because I know people thought out there, I had people yelling at me and cussing me down. What is your problem? You about to leave that good job? Good job? You're like, oh man, why you cussing at me? So it's you ladies, you're completely right. Now, I would say to anybody, you know, there's things you have to set up though before you. I'm just me. I would say there's things you have to set up before actually leaving your job. Like there should be some systems you set up to try to like have something in place, some savings account, something that you have that generates some sort of income for you to make that leap. Because if you don't, then the allurement to go back to the job when things get lean is going to be pulling on you real strong, because the reality is we have bills and we have things we have to take. We have responsibilities. You got to profit. You got to, you know, take care of yourself. So I would say to anybody who's listening, before you make that jump, have something that's generating some type of income or something that's generating some type of money for you, so that when the seasons get lean or when you're knocking on people's door, you don't lose your integrity on your product, right? So I don't want to go in and say, oh, I'm coming in here for helping Black children, but because money's tight, I lose my voice or I can't speak my truth because I'm caring more about the money versus my purpose that God has put me on this earth for. So it happens so often. So I would say to anybody, you know, create a nest egg of some sort so that you can walk in your truth, and then you can be who you're supposed to be on this earth, and find that from within. A job doesn't define you. Your purpose should define you. Who you are defines you. Who God created you is defining you. And so often we spend so much time making somebody else rich or living somebody else's dream that we never take the time to live our dream. So, you know.
I finger snap.
Hey, I got some. Oh, there you go.
Can I chime in quickly?
We do have a question. Sorry, Gary, did you have?
I just wanted to chime in, and I want to give everybody kudos for pursuing what they want, or whether you feel it's your calling or your dream or what you always wanted to do, and kind of breaking away from the mainstream mindset of, you know, you have to do this, you have to, like it goes into the example Haidia was explaining about wearing the mask and just the conformity. It seems like I want to salute, and I want to say that I take notice that people are actually pursuing what you want to call your calling or whatever that may be in your specific situation. I do give kudos to everyone for having the strength to do that. And within that, I wanted to go into this. Like we talked about, being yourself gives other people the power, the juice, or it gives them the idea that they can be themselves because of you doing yourself. I like to share. I run the Cobbs Hill Reservoir a lot. I don't know if many people in Rochester, but I run a nice big hill in Rochester, and I try to show it to people every day. And people actually give me feedback, like, because you show me you running, that makes me want to get up and do my thing. So it's just a kind of a domino snowball effect that will happen with good, positive energy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can I say something? I don't know if anybody can see me.
We hear you, Jamaica.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you. Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't. So I just kind of wanted to chime in a little bit. I wanted to say thank you for the messages that you guys are giving. It so goes along with the message that I'm sending out with Vibe High. And like what this message is for me is like just to tell people who you really are and be that. We hold ourselves back from so much in life because we don't listen to that inner self that we are, that strong person that we really are. I left the bank after 13 years and I didn't have a plan. So I hear you, Dr. Abraham, like we should have a plan, but I made a radical decision and I just left. And I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take them me around like that anymore. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not gonna let somebody tell me how much money I can make in my life. I'm not to let you tell me, no, you can't get this promotion. No, I am the bomb. Like I can do whatever I want to do. I can run a company just like you can run a company. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So my
Yes.
message across this nation is please, everybody. I just wanted to chime in with you guys. Be the best human that you can be. Like we are divine and in control. We can be and do whatever we want to be. So I just want to leave that with you guys before everybody get off. Please listen to Dr. Abraham. Listen to everybody on the platform. I didn't think a lot of people get that message, but when I'm talking to other people and I hear people saying, be the best you can be, I love that message. So I just wanted to chime in and say that to you guys.
Can I piggyback off?
You better go and say that. You better say that, girl. You can say it one more time. I don't know how much time we got, but you better say be the best you could be.
Yes.
Really quick. I agree. I was gonna actually say, you know, if it's your calling and it's your purpose, it's for you. What's for you is always gonna be for you. So sometimes you just have to just kind of like wing it, right? And if you might struggle a little bit, but again, if it's for you, it's gonna be for you. Like what's for you is always for you. So like for me, I didn't really have that much like, oh my God, I don't think it's gonna work. No, I just was like, you know what? I don't like it here. I'm unhappy. I'm doing it. And I did it and things just started happening. So sometimes
y'all get me fired up.
Sometimes just don't overthink what's meant for you, right? If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. So you just have to have like literally like the gut instinct. Are you willing to let what you've been to your entire life go to actually fulfill it?
Awesome. So, question from Barb. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and unmute her here. All right.
Y'all got me fired up. I'm about to go do something great today. I promise you, I'm fired up right now.
Yeah, I'm fired up as well because this meeting, I know I think Dr. Abraham, you said that you thought, oh no, we're here to talk about businesses, everything, but everything that each of you are saying and who's in here is like, all of it is just coming together like in such a wonderful, fantastic way, because what people have said here, like the structural inequities and racism and being stuck in places where you really, that wasn't your spirit, it wasn't honoring your truth, was the very things that like just prior to this COVID happening, I mean, I lost my job and I actually like going to God, like I need a reset, like seriously, not knowing that the entire world was going to be on a reset. But it's like it's like all of the things that we've been we've been taught to do is something that it speaks my heart. So I, like Dr. Abraham, like the whole educational thing, and that's one of the, right now I'm in the ground zero of trying to formulate a business around the passion of, yes, it's an emergency. These kids are not learning the way, in the traditional way. So it's both a good thing and it's it's like, no, we've got to try to do something to help them with that. So that was where like I'm glad that people said that, you know, you have to go out there and just do it, because I'm still in that mindset. And thank you for mentioning about the mindset of the way we were taught traditionally to do stuff. Like, oh, you know, go to school, get an education, and then, you know, get that skill sets and all that stuff. And then eventually, and it's like my spirit's been crying out for like the last few months. Is like, I can't do anything traditionally anymore. I cannot.
Right.
And this is where I'm at. So thank you for each and everything that's been said here. You know, it is about business, because the mindset has to happen in order for the businesses to then come to fruition.
Thank you for sharing, Barb. That's beautiful, Barb. That is beautiful.
So we are coming to the closing. So I will say,
what?
I know, right?
That's it?
I told you this was gonna be fire, right? Like you didn't know what you were getting into when you joined this conversation. But I will say for our panelists, if you have any closing remarks you'd like to, you know, get out, words of wisdom, whatever comes from your heart.
I'll go first. So something that I like to teach people all the time is that everything that you need is within you. Most of the time we have the answers, we know what we want to do with our life, it's within, right? So are you going to actually listen to your intuition and yourself to actually become who you're really supposed to be? So everything that you need is within you. Always look within.
Amen. Amen.
I'll go next. Don't let fear cripple you. Believe in yourself. Understand that you may fall. It is going to be a struggle. You're going to have to invest in yourself, but don't let fear cripple you, because you will not be able to see clearly, understand the problem, to have a solution for the problem.
Very true.
Dang, how I'm supposed to follow all of that? What I'm supposed to say after all of that wisdom?
Come on.
Folks, I just say, you know, like the lady said, follow your heart, follow your dream, follow love, and let love drive the decisions on everything you do. I don't know if you read the Bible at all, but God is love. And once you're following that love and you're following that passion, that's what you need. And don't be afraid to life is so, you know, it's not promised. So why still stay one moment and 1 minute in a situation that's not going to appreciate the God and the greatness on the inside of you? Be who you're supposed to be and connect with people. You can connect with me if you're on Instagram, Dr. Mark _Abraham. I'm on Instagram. So it's Dr.Marck. That's the unique version of Mark _Abraham. Follow me on Instagram. You can't follow me on Facebook. I got too many friends, they said. LinkedIn and Twitter. Follow me on those other mediums. I share the same content across all platforms. I would love to connect with you. I would love to hear your story and go on this journey with you as a friend, as a family member, as somebody who says I'm proud of you and I love you. So let's go, family. Let's have 2020 be a great year, and 2021 be even better.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I'm just going to run through these quick upcoming events that Pastone is presenting. So next, in 2 weeks, Friday, we'll have our last Friday forum, and then we're going to take a little break on them. You can register at the link you see here. Our Money Talk series, we have our last class happening next Wednesday. If you've missed any of the classes, go ahead and check out our YouTube page, Biz Up Buffalo. You can see all the previous classes on there. And we just started our boot camp for startups. This is for those folks that are still kind of in the idea phase or just literally starting their business. You know, this is a good workshop to attend so you can really start getting your ducks in a row. Again, links are all there. We're going to send these slides out to you folks so you can go ahead and check all these things out. You'll be able to see both the websites for Janelle and Hydea. You'll be able to see Dr. Mark Abraham's interview. He's shared his information here in the chat with you. really, you know, again, to everyone, I really just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining us. I'm so happy that this was such an eventful conversation. I think it's much needed. It's not just a one-time thing. I think this is something that needs to happen, right? Occasionally we start to run out of fuel, and you need someone to be able to back you up and kind of push you forward again. So with that being said, thank you, folks. Thank you to our amazing panelists, and we hope to see you at the next forum. Bye.
Hi, guys.
Bye.